Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we are going to be talking about 1988's The Presidio, starring Sean Connery, Mark Harmon, and Meg Ryan. I will warn you there'll be some spoilers in this review because I do have to talk about one of the big plot points. It's because it's something I didn't like. But that being said, if you want a recommendation for this one, it's not a bad movie. It has its ups and its downs, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching this movie. What this movie is about is on a military base, an MP goes to the officers' club and they go inside, and all of a sudden they're ambushed, shot, and killed. This leads to an investigation on the military base, but also the San Francisco Police Department are also called in to work with the military to figure out what happened. This leads to Sean Connery's character, who's one of the heads of the MPs, and Mark Harmon's character, who not only is the detective on the case, but he also used to be an MP on this base, and him and Sean Connery don't like each other. This leads to them having to work together, and of course, oil and water does not definitely mix, at least for a while. But they end up having to work together to try to solve the case. But also, there's a second story going on where Mark Harmon's character meets Sean Connery's daughter, and instant fireworks. And this leads, of course, to more tension between Sean Connery and Mark Harmon's character. So you have two different stories here. You have the murder mystery, figuring out why this MP was shot and killed, and you also have the love story. Let me tell you what didn't work for me. For the most part, while it was fine, the love story was a little bit too much of this movie. The movie's only a little over an hour and a half, and I think the movie would have been better served, the story would have been better served if the love story was cut down. Now, I know they wanted to add more tension between Connery and Harmon, and that's fine, but I think the love story, I mean, granted, you have Meg Ryan in a movie in 1988, you're going to want to use her, right? So she does play a big part in what comes between these two guys, even though they already have a bad history together. The bad history together would have been fine, would have been more than enough to have these guys going at each other's throats and wanting to one-up at each other and everything, but adding the love interest does step that up a bit, so I do give it credit for stepping up the tension between the two characters, but they also gave way too much time to the love story on Meg Ryan's character's motivations and Sean Connery's character's motivations towards his daughter, and where Mark Harmon's character fits into this relationship. And it was just a little bit too much for me. I would have, more time, I think, should have been spent towards the crime aspect of the story. That being said, I really liked the crime aspect of the story, and that's maybe why I wanted more. Again, you have these two characters saying, we need to work together, but of course, they're stepping on each other's toes. One of the people they need to investigate happens to be the person who is the reason why the Sean Connery and Mark Harmon's characters are at each other in the first place. He's an officer that was drunk, and Mark Harmon as an MP and the MP who was shot and killed, who they were partners, they are the ones that arrested this guy, and Sean Connery's character all but let him go because Mark Harmon's character apparently assaulted this officer and was booted off the base. Now, Harmon's character said that he insulted his partner, and there was other things that were accused of there, but anyway, that led to Mark Harmon being kicked off the base, and you have to deal with this officer again in the main storyline, and he may or may not still be involved in what is the ultimate reason why this MP was murdered in the first place, because there is an overall crime story that they have to investigate where they keep hitting dead ends, not only because there's dead ends, but because, again, they are stepping on each other's toes. and when they finally are able to work together, they can finally put all the pieces together, even though they don't put together one of the pieces till near the very end, because they think they figured it out and they're working together, but Sean Connery's like, no, there's something missing, and then the last piece shows up to the final confrontation. And this, of course, leads to the straight-laced character that Sean Connery plays, the by-the-book character, asking Mark Harmon's character to not play by the book for reasons that I don't really want to spoil. So yeah, you have the two different stories, and the acting in this is really good. Connery and Harmon work really well together. Connery's character comes off a lot like his character in The Untouchables a bit, where he can be very confrontational, but he's very well-meaning. He may say, do something this way, do it my way, do it my way. You think he's trying to be bossy, but he really has good reasons for why he's acting like that. The story with him and Meg Ryan, his daughter in the movie, it works well. I wish they would have took some of that time and added it to the crime story, because there was a few scenes with the love story that kind of dragged a little bit. That being said, Meg Ryan's good in this too. Mark Harmon's good in this. I mean, if you like Mark Harmon now, he was just as good back then in the late 80s. And again, him and Connery work really well together. The crime story, in the end, it's a little bland with the final outcome of why this is going on. That being said, it's not really supposed to wow you. It's just something happened. Why did it happen? And this is it. It is still a pretty interesting thing that they're doing, that the villains are doing, but I don't know. The wow factor just isn't there. It's just something in the end. It's something kind of, while the way they're doing it's complicated, and the fact that, or the way they're doing it, and the reasons they're doing it, and how Harmon and Connery's character figure it out, that's interesting. But the end outcome of what they're doing is just like, okay, it's fine. A little generic in some ways, but it's fine. But yeah, I really dug this movie. It was an interesting watch. Could have been better because of the love story, but the love story itself isn't terrible. I just felt it took away from the crime story is all. So yeah, that is 1988's The Presidio, starring Sean Connery, Mark Harmon, and Meg Ryan. It's not streaming anywhere. I just had a copy of it lying around, so I decided to watch it. And I couldn't remember if I had watched it or not, and I don't think I had. There were some things I may have caught bits and pieces of it, because there were some things I remembered, but then a lot of this movie I didn't remember, because when the reveal of like the crime and everything happened, it's like, I don't remember this. So I enjoyed it. I did have a good time watching it. I have my reasons. I had a good time watching it. But anyway, if you can find it anywhere, you can rent it online. I just haven't been able to find it streaming anywhere. I want to say it was when I was looking it up to see if it was streaming before I had to go looking for the DVD in my storage bins. I think on Prime it said it was on Cinemax, which, I mean, I didn't even know Cinemax was a thing anymore. So if you have Cinemax, you can watch it on stream. If not, you can still rent it online. For me, as a fan of Sean Connery and Mark Harmon, I thought it was a pretty good watch, and I did enjoy it. Anyway, that's going to be all for this review. See you later.